Hi, in this video I want to talk with you about how to simplify your soloing skills to be more creative, follow the form more easily, and basically have more fun while taking solos. Because I don't know how about you, but for me, when I started playing jazz, taking solos was so stressful. You need to keep the form right, you need to know what chord is played over in any moment, and you need to know how to follow the form, so what notes to play over each chord. And it's not enough, because you need it to be musical, you need it to be melodic, and you need it to be interesting. And there are so many scales and substitutes and shapes that I got lost, and I didn't know how to create beautiful music with that. And what I really like the most from learning the music of Django Reinhardt is how simple it can be. Django wasn't educated. He didn't know all these scales, superimposed chords, substitutes. How can he play so musical and interesting? So first of all, he had his ear and he heard this beautiful music in his head. But he also saw a very few shapes on his instrument, and by limiting his word to only a few simple shapes that he used to visualize on his fingerboard, it makes things much easier. And I will explain. For example, let's take a 2-5-1 progression: A minor 7, D7, and G. Alright? I will play the accompaniment for you. A minor 7, D7, G. And we can also add E7 at the end. That leads us back to A minor 7, D7, and G. Right? With the A7. So first, get used to play the accompaniment, okay? Feel it, feel the 1, the 2-5-1, with the E7 leading you back to A minor. Now, you can improvise over it, like 2-5-1, you can use only G major scale. Over E7, you can use the gypsy run, you can use the harmonic minor scale from the 5th degree, you can use the arpeggios of the dominant chord. There are many options. And there are all these substitutes that you can use for the dominant chords. But now let's simplify our word into 2 shapes that we are going to use. That's all. The first shape is a minor shape. A minor chord, a minor shape, A minor. So when we have the chord A minor, I just use the shape of A minor, 7, 5, 5, 5. The second shape is a major shape. Alright, so if this is a minor, this is a major. Let's do it here. It will be D. D major. 12, 11, 10, 10. D major. G is a major chord too. So we are going to play G major here. G major. And E7 is a major chord too. So the same thing here. For E. 14, 13, 12, 12. So you have A minor over the accompaniment, D, G, and E. Now I really simplified it to A minor, D, G, and E, which are all the same shape, instead of the minor, which is that's why it's the second shape. And now let's see if you can create music with that. A minor, D, and G, and E. Now you see that spontaneously I am adding half-tone approach sometimes. So it's just taking the shape of the chord, and for each note of the chord, play half tone below. You can do it with 2 fingers like that. And for D, for G, and for E. Let's improvise with that. want to play fast, you can repeat the same idea and get motifs. Okay? So as you can see, we are not using each shape as is. We are also adding notes around the shapes, like the half tone below. And now let's add the next diatonic note above, the next note in the scale above. So in A minor, for this A, you can add tone above A, which is B. And for E, you can half tone and tone above. And for the note C here, tone above. So for the A minor, we are adding the tone above all the notes. For D7, I will add tone above the root here. I can add tone above here on the second string, and I can add half tone above the third string because the next note in the scale is half tone above. And even if you don't know what is the next note on the scale and you add tone above, no big deal. For G, again, tone above, half tone above, and tone above. So after the third degree again, I have half tone above. And for E, you can add tone above, and here half tone above, because this is the next note in the scale, and here half tone above too. And again, if you play tone above all the notes, or half tone above all the notes, it doesn't really matter. You can listen to it and decide what sound you like, if you prefer the half tone above or the tone above, even if you don't know a lot about scales. You can go with your ear and your musical taste. Now you can play the enclosures very simple, like that, or with trills. You can use these two notes around the notes any way you like, alright? And then your improvisation is still based on this shape and on that and on that shapes and on that shapes. And I have half tone approach and enclosures. Two tools that I can learn them once. You need to practice, of course. You need to learn how to use the half tone approach and the enclosures over the triad shapes. And once you have it, you just use it again and again and again, each time in a little bit different way. But what we did now, we jumped with one shape over our entire fretboard. But there are two more shapes for each triad. We call them inversions. Here we started on the root, on the 1, but we can start on the third degree. For example, 1, 3. So we can start on this note and we get an inversion of the same chord. So we can see now A minor, one shape, but we can start it on the third. You see, 1 and the third, and we can start it on the 5. For D7, we can start it on the 1, on the third, you get like this D chord here, and we can start it on the 5. For G, for example, you can start on the 1, but you can start on the third and on the 5th. The same shapes we had for D. And E, we started on the 1. I can also start on the third and on on the fifths. And I'm getting the same shapes for all the chords. The root position over the one, it's the same shape when I start from the third, the same shape when I start from the fifths. Now I can improvise over my entire fingerboard without jumping from place to place. If my A minor is here, then I can play my D major here, my G here, and my E here. So I'm in the same area, A minor, D, G, and E. And I can improvise over that. A minor, D, now G, and E. I can head after an approach and closure, after an approach and closures. It's so fun and easy to create melodies like that because you don't need to think, I can go here and here and here. No, you simplify your word into a few shapes, basically 3 minor shapes and 3 major shapes, which are very similar. There is only one note change between the minor and the major. And then you can follow these shapes and you can concentrate on creating beautiful melody. And it even gets better than that, because sometimes you have a sequence of chords that are moved quickly, right? And you need to follow all these chords and all these changes. And when there are chords that move very quickly, you can always omit and delete some of the chords and create a reduced set of shapes that you follow. You learn to find the most important chords and you find the shapes and you follow these shapes to create your solos, and then you can make your solos less stressful and more easy and fun. And it's all in the course about the magic of triads, which is really the best improvisation method I ever heard of. It simplifies all these huge things that called improvisation or jazz improvisation into a simple progress that you can start and implement very, very quickly in your playing. It's the fastest way to get results and to start improvising on the spot. You learn a few shapes and you follow the entire song with. So learn these shapes, follow the magic of triads, and have a lot of fun. Cheers!